everybody. Okay, today we're going to be using the ball quite a lot and quite a lot of work with the ball underneath our hips. I quite like that, kind of help balance wise. Yeah, you really need to focus and it really does challenge the core from a balance point of view, but also just sort of helps keep the hips and the spine in neutral position, so just lifting that tailbone slightly actually feels quite comfortable, I feel. But anyway, you can decide on that one. Okay, so we're going to start off just onto our backs. You're going to come down and you're going to hug your knees into your chest. So you may already be warmed up, which is good. If not, we're going to just loosen off through the lower back just a little bit more by rocking the knees back and forth. Slowly taking the legs a little bit lower. So you're tapping the toes to the floor. You're working through to your tailbone. Tapping toes down and lift, tapping toes down and lift, tap and lift, tap and then lift, hug the knees in, lift your head, bring your chin to your knees, you're stretching from neck to tailbone. And then down again, lifting up, hug the knees in, tapping down, hug the knees in. You're going to keep one knee in towards you, lengthen the other leg out. So one hand on the knee, one hand on the ankle. You can nicely open up through the front of the hip there. Little hip flexor stretch. As the knee comes in towards you, you're stretching through the glute. The leg lengthens, we're opening up through the front of the hip. Alternating legs. In, release, in, release, in, release, in, release, in, release, release, in, release, in, release. Head can be on the floor if you feel more comfortable with your neck. And then all the way down. Head down, hug your knees into your chest. Bring your feet down to the floor. Bring your knees out wide, just gently open through the hips. Arch the back slightly. Stretch out through your shoulders. And slowly slide your heels out. Lengthening tall from fingertips to toes. And then slide your heels back in, and with your hands under your knees, you're going to roll yourself up. Bring your feet down, a little stretch towards your toes. And then roll back up again. Okay, you're going to use the ball. You're going to come down onto your back with your knees bent, and you're going to lift your hips up. So you're going to pop that ball underneath your tailbone. It's not into the small of my back, and then my back is going to arch over the ball, which is nice for stretch across your abdominals, but not to work like that. So if you want to have a stretch, that's good. For this, we're going to keep the ball underneath our tailbone. So it's below my waistband and underneath more the tailbone than the lower back. Okay, so arms are down by your side. Your feet and knees are going to be hip width apart. You're just going to lift 1 foot off the floor, so the knee is above the hip, and then down again. So it's good to focus on a point on the ceiling. If you're looking around you, like I am, it's a little bit harder. So lift 1 foot up and down. So keeping your hips as level as you can, you're engaging your core, and imagine the spirit level across your hips, across your pelvis here, to help stabilise. Focus on that balance point. And it helps if your arms are down by your side. But we will do a little bit of arm lifting. Okay, going to lift one leg up. If you can, switch it halfway for the other leg. So my knees are staying bent, my knees are staying at right angle. I'm not lengthening my leg out at all just yet. Just tap down, so hinging on the hip. The thigh is coming towards you. And the front thigh is low and away from you. Just tap, tap. If you haven't done these before, then it might take you a few times, a few efforts, a few weeks even, to get the hang of the balance on the ball. It does come with time, I promise. Tap, tap, and tap. Okay, lift both feet off the floor now. Okay, so find your balance point, engaging your core. Take a breath in, keeping those shins parallel to the floor, lengthen one leg away from you. Reach the foot as far away from as you can and bend back in again. Change the other side, lengthen the leg away and back. If you can, just bring your heel all the way down to the floor if you can. So you're getting a really big stretch open through the front of the hip, because the foot will be slightly lower than your hips because the ball's underneath your hips. So you're getting a nice big stretch, a bigger stretch than you'll get just lying on the floor. And back. So think about that spirit level on your shin. It's really good if you can do these with a mirror handy, a big mirror, or if you can see yourself on a screen, recording yourself in selfie mode maybe, just to be able to check your positioning. We're not always doing what we think we're doing. So lengthening away and bend, lengthen away and bend. Okay, last one. And then bicycle legs. You're going to circle around, just pedalling in the air, around. We're not rushing, it's not fast pedaling, but they're getting bigger, bigger pedaling, bigger circles, opening up, around, bigger circles, around, 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 and then change directions. You're pedaling backwards, and again the circles are getting a little bit bigger, around, 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 and then bring one foot down, bring the other foot down, have a little rest. If you need to, just open through the hips slightly. Might feel this more in hip flexors than actually in your core. And back in again, lifting the feet off the floor. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lengthen both legs away from your feet and knees aren't touching. Bend the knees back in. Lengthen the legs out, reach the toes away. Be careful how low you take the legs. Now if the back feels like it's arching over the ball and the ball isn't low enough, the ball is there to stop your back from arching out of neutral. It should help stabilise your spine, stabilise your hips. Okay, and you're going to lengthen the legs out, and you're going to keep the legs straight. You're going to lift the legs up above the hips. And then lowering and lifting up. Now you can do this with the knees bent if you'd rather, tapping down and lifting up. Tapping down and lifting up. I'm going to slowly lift a little bit further where the legs are straight or the legs are bent. You're going to just gently lift the pressure from the ball. So your tailbone is going to lift just a tiny bit and lower, lifting up and lower. So scooping through your lower abdominals through to your core as you lift and lower, scoop and lift and lower, scoop and lift and lower, scoop and lift and lower. So a couple more. Lift as far as you feel you can without letting the ball go. Up. And then with the legs above your hips. You're going to cross your feet over. Then you going to bring your feet out wide across the centre. And wide. You're just gently opening through the hips across the middle. And wide. Across the middle. And wide. Across the middle. Just gently stretching through your inner thighs. Across and wide, cross and wide, cross and wide, across and wide. Come back to the centre. Now scissors with one leg coming towards you and one leg lowering. Switching over halfway and lower. Switch 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 and lower, and lower, and lower. And now keep one leg lowered and one leg towards you and circle the legs around. So you're doing half a circle with each leg. They're both going clockwise and then both going anti-clockwise. So you're alternating direction around, 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 around. And then come back and pop both feet down to the floor. Have a little rest for a moment. Okay, we're going to bring some arms in now. Start with just keeping your feet on the floor. Adjust yourself if you need to, if you have moved a little bit during transition there. Okay, and then you're going to lift both arms up off the floor. So reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling and down again. Okay, lifting your arms up. Bring your arms wide to the centre and down. Okay, lifting up, wide, centre and down. Okay, let's try that with the feet lifted off the floor. Lift the arms, wide, centre and down. Lift, arms wide, centre and down. Lift, wide, centre and down. Okay, now we're going to lift there and hold. You're going to straighten out your left leg and bring your left arm all the way back. And lift back up again. Now the right side, lengthen out and back. Lengthen out. If you feel yourself starting to wobble, stay focused on one little point on the ceiling. Try not to look around you. It does make it harder if you keep looking around like I do. And lift, lengthening out and in. Lengthen out and in. You've got the curtain there. Lengthen, lift, lengthen and lift and lift. Okay, if you can now lengthen both legs and both arms and lift, lengthen and lift. If you can lengthen, sweep around and lift, lengthen, sweep around, lift, lengthen, sweep around, lift, lengthen, sweep around, lift, lengthen, sweep around, lift, and one more, sweep around and just hug the knees in towards you. Just give the lower back a little stretch. And then release and bring your feet down to the floor. So you can hold the sides of the ball if you need to, just lightly with your thumbs. I'm up on my toes, but you can have your feet flat if you'd rather, but I need to get a higher lift off the ball. So you're going to just gently squeeze the glutes and lift your hips up off the ball and down again. So squeeze and lift. The ball might not move, but it might do. When you feel you come back down again, it's gone. Squeeze the glutes, lifting up, really zipping through your core. Now as you push down, you really push down, so you're going to squash the ball into the floor, engaging your core as you push down. Lifting up, squashing down, really squashing the ball into the mat, using your core, and lifting up. Squashing down, lifting up, squashing down, lifting up, squashing down. Okay, so one more, and down. If you can, so lift one foot off the floor, lifting up single leg and down. You won't be able to get quite so high. Just lift and down, lift and down. Just one more, and down, changing legs. So lift the foot, lift and down, lift, down, lift and down. Just one more, and down. Both feet back down to the floor. Then lift your hips up again. Take the ball out from underneath you. Lose the ball now. Just throw it away. Hug the knees in towards you. Give your lower back a nice little stretch. Lifting your head. Bring your chin to your knees if you can. Lengthen from neck to tailbone. And then gently rock your knees back and forth. Just massaging the tailbone into the floor. Back and forth. And bring your feet down, bring your knees out wide again, open up through the hips and stretch your arms all the way up. Lengthen out through your abdominals. Take a breath in and breathe out. Slide your heels away. Stretch and lengthen tall. Up the back slightly. And slide the heels back in and rolling over onto your side, coming over to hands and knees. Just for a little cat stretch, lengthen your spine, push it back up towards the ceiling. Scooping out, arch your back, looking upwards. And again, head down, lengthen your spine, and lower your hips down to your heels, stretch your arms forward to child pose. And roll back up. Well done. Have a lovely day.